So, what were we talking about?
The ending.
Yeah, no, but what were we on?
Drugs.
Drugs. Welcome back to the Shaken Not Scared podcast. Here with you as always, your hosts Erick and Vivi. Today we're talking about the 2004 movie Saw, directed by James Wan again. But before we get into it, how are you, Vivi?
I'm good. I was trying not to cough throughout your entire intro. Should we just become a James Wan podcast? Because this is like the 10th movie from him we've covered.
Well, it doesn't help that there's a whole Warren-verse, so I'm sure we will at some point cover all of them.
Well, he is considered the modern day father of horror movies, or changing the genre of horror. We're going to switch it up today, and I'm going to give the fun facts. And
Yeah.
Erick provided the cocktails today.
So excited. Vivi just made fun of me and said I took one class and now I'm like
Upstaging
the
me.
literal tipsy bartender.
They look better than drinks I've made in the past.
Thank you.
As long as your shooter doesn't taste like
Asshole. Bloody asshole.
that or
That's what it looks like.
Lysol. I mean, yeah, I guess it kind of does look.
Bloody asshole. It should have been white, but it's brown. But how's your week?
We finally got to chill out. Our next couple months is going to be insane.
You can tell the pandemic is coming to an end because everyone and their mom is out and
Is
about.
trying to do something and trying to be like, come to this other state, travel with me. Everyone's trying to get married, including us.
On the topic of summer plans, did I show you the pictures of that place where we're going to do a bachelor's thing? I'm not going to say where, since people don't know where I'm going, but it gives off Camp Crystal Lake vibes.
Did mention that.
So if I get murdered by Jason or Mrs. Voorhees, you know what happened and where I was. Do you want to talk about creepy content?
Oh, yeah, sure.
What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to?
So this week, I've been reading this book for a while now. It's called We Need to Talk About Kevin. It's actually been turned into a movie.
You talked about it for such a long time. It took you forever to read this book. Jesus
I'm still
Christ.
reading it. Okay, because
You're still reading it.
I've also been reading Cujo and then this other horror novel that's about a creepy town with children being like weird. I spend a lot of time on TikTok and I've ended up on book TikTok, but for horror recommendations.
good.
And those two books were on there.
Is it Black Eyed Children?
No, it's this weird town in Europe, and it's like in a time period that's like back in the day. The children are like committing murder and cannibalism, things like that.
Love some murderous children. I was watching Handmaid's Tale. When they bring out the children, I was like, oh my god, disgusting.
Children.
It is horrifying because that scene's like...
It is weird because there's like no children throughout the whole show until that scene, and you're like, oh shit.
And it's a show. Like, they put the children on as a show.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. That was the part that was very eerie.
What else? We watched Psycho Goreman.
Yes, we
started
did. We didn't finish it yet, but...
We got like 30 minutes left.
yeah,
Listen.
that helps us not give spoilers.
Listen, boys and girls, when you're over a certain age, you cannot start a movie after 8 p.m.
Oh no, I had such a bad headache.
Yeah.
It's definitely a movie that is aware of how silly it is.
Yeah.
One kid gets turned into a brain. There's very much Power Rangers vibes.
Oh, yeah.
There's
so much Power Rangers.
A ton of Transformers vibes. You're not really too keen on Transformers
Not
stuff.
really familiar.
Psycho Gorman's second-hand person, his name is Darkscream, and I told you that this scene was almost identical to Transformers, where Megatron gets revived and Starscream is in charge of the Decepticons. The whole time while Megatron was dead, Starscream's been trying to be the new leader of the Decepticons. That's literally what happens in this movie to some extent without giving away spoilers.
We also said it had Billy and Mandy vibes.
Oh my
Because it's
God.
like two kids are in control of like this horrible entity or whatever.
It's a good time. I like
It's funny. It's a little gory, as like the name implies, but it's like we said campy gore, where it's silly, even though it's nasty.
The gore is pretty insane. Like that guy, he's like, you're going to live forever, and his
He's
body's just frozen.
Yeah, and then one kid knocks him over, and he's like, thank you.
But it's just his mouth on the floor.
Moving. Yeah, we need to finish it. What else? Oh, we picked up watching Love, Death. What is it?
Love, Death, and Robots. Oh my god, I love this show too.
We watched the first season a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, I remember loving the first season so much because it's like an anthology where every story it gives me like animated Black Mirror vibes too. And this
Black
Love,
Mirror,
Death, Robots.
that first episode where the dude does a pig traumatized me, and I did not want to watch the rest of it.
Oh, we should though. You need to. You're missing out.
Yeah, I know there's episodes that are really talked about. That's what we're doing after this.
I was gonna say we should probably watch a few episodes every week and then talk about it so that you can give your feedback. There's episodes that I love so much.
I feel like you've told me like the whole story of a couple of them just because I haven't watched it and you wanted to talk about it.
It's another show that is kind of like a dystopian future where technology kind of goes wrong.
Like Love, Death, and Robots.
I think that they get a bunch of different animators to submit these stories, and then
which is pretty cool. All the art styles are different. We watched like 3 or 4 episodes, and they were all pretty interesting.
How about that robot one? How
The
about
first
the one
one?
with the robots? Every single episode. The first one with the vacuum.
Hilarious. Hilariously animated, messed up storyline.
It is. And then the neighbor with the gun.
Yeah,
He's like here to save the day and gets electrocuted immediately.
immediately.
Yeah, it's a good one. We
So
haven't
far.
finished it, but I think it's pretty cool. I still love season 1 better. There was one that I was like, whatever. It was the one about the babies.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty interesting concept. It reminded me so much. This is going to turn into we're just talking about television. But it reminded me a lot of Brave New World.
I've never seen that one.
You've never read?
No.
It's a dystopian novel.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Maybe I'll read it and talk about
Is
it.
that the competition to 1984?
They are same genre. I don't know if it's really competition.
Not competition, I guess, but people always compare like 1984 is like the negative and
Brave New World is
the
like
positive.
the positive, but still dystopian. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a movie, though, if you just want to check out the movie.
Is it?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, well, what else do we have? I listened to a couple more podcasts. I know that we don't really talk about that many other podcasts, but...
Because it's just us.
Yeah, it's just us. It's Always Room for More podcasts. I've actually been vibing a lot off of their show lately. I feel like I've been annoying Vivi with all the jokes that they make.
No, it's not annoying at all. Because I can hear it. You'll have it playing around the house, and I'll hear you busting out laughing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's a group of 4, and they just, like us, where we drink cocktails, they smoke weed and talk about the strain. It's pretty cool. They have specific topics for each episode, and then it sounds like they cover a movie once a month. And they recently, I haven't caught up yet, but recently released
They
an
did
episode
Sleepaway
talking about
Camp.
Sleepaway Camp, yeah. So
Yeah,
check
I was
them
going to
out.
listen to that one because I want to hear their take. It is for sure a trippy movie.
My little cousin in Wisconsin, I think he's listening, but they said that they didn't watch it because they saw that the sequels are all like pornos.
Did not know that, but you should watch the first one. What else you got?
I have Nightmare on Free Street too. I've been listening to them for a while. Actually, been listening to them for a couple weeks. They cover several movies at once. Their first 2 episodes were covering, I think, 1 through 4 of Nightmare on Elm Street, which
Makes sense
Makes
because
sense.
it's just so many.
they have pretty good takes. They recently covered Get Out, and honestly, I think it's cool to listen to other podcasts and take their takes. When we started this one, we were like, well, there's already so many, but I mean,
Yeah, you
they're
still
gonna say
listen
things
to
that
different opinions.
But it's really cool. Check them out too. So I have one last thing.
One last.
Yeah, someone reached out on Twitter. I checked out his stuff. His name is Poltergeist, and he's got a Sleepaway Camp rap. We're going to take a listen now. He sent us a promo reel so that we could play it on the show and check it out.
Let's hear it.
I'm Poltergeist, and I make inappropriate songs about horror movies.
So basically, I just came to see some naked D's and A's for free. Take a peek, take a key. 12 cabins, 12 vacancies, 12 bodies, mother pray for me. I might go psycho occasionally. One body too many, pray for me, cause we all go a little mad sometimes.
No happy ever after, just chapter after chapter after chapter. Massacre, make the Ripper look like an amateur ambassador of the slashers. Michael, Lord of the Dead, Lord of the Dead. You could wake up in their coroner's bed. This is the hour for mourning and dread. Drain all the blood that was stored in his head.
All of the apologies that you can muster from your dread won't protect you on your bed. Nothing will from Pumpkinhead.
This is not a dream, baby. This ain't Halloween, baby. When I'm on the scene, this is what we call a scream, baby.
Subscribe on YouTube at Poltergeist OD. Follow me on Instagram and the Slasher app at Poltergeist_OD.
That was fun. No, I think it's super fun. I love when people take what they love and their talent and mix it together.
If you guys go and check him out on YouTube, his Sleepaway Camp rap is like to footage of the movie, and what he's saying literally lines up with what's going on.
If I'm having a Halloween party, I'm definitely going to play his music.
Hold it. You gotta stay true to that. So I'm gonna take a video on Halloween.
for
and I'm gonna
sure.
take a video of you playing this music.
I don't know what we're doing this Halloween because
Anniversary.
it's our 1 year wedding anniversary.
We do have this plan to always have a Halloween party every year.
We did, but we probably won't do one this year because we still live in the condo. I'm hoping we'll probably be house hunting in October, actually.
Cool. But yeah, go check out Poltergeist. Sweet. So that's it for creepy content. You got anything else?
I
Good?
don't think so.
Okay. Time to talk about this drink. I'm calling them. I made a shot and I made a cocktail. I'm calling it Jig the shot and Saw the drink.
Nice.
So, Jig Saw.
They are layered drinks because Eric's new favorite thing is to make layered drinks.
They look cool.
They do look cool. They're pretty tropical looking. One is red and white swirl, and then one is a shooter with red at the bottom. I'm assuming that's coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
then
it's black.
Yeah, so like black coffee and then creamer on top.
I was able to get the white on the Saw drink because I used heavy whipping cream and vodka for it.
Oh,
So
didn't know I had vodka in it.
yeah, I know that we haven't mentioned in the past. If people have been looking for our steps and ingredients and how we've
Recipes.
been doing the drinks, we have them on our website. So visit shakennotscaredpodcast.com. You'll go on there. There's a drinks and recipes page. You'll find all the ones that we've covered so far, and then all the ones that we've done just for fun on the side, like your spooky margarita for Cinco de Mayo. They're all on there, so check them out. But this one, do you want to taste it?
Oh, sure. Are we doing the shooter first?
Let's do the shooter first. Cheers.
Cheers.
That is quite... Actually, it's interesting. Because it's coffee-like, but also...
Ooh.
You don't like grenadine, right?
No. It's very sweet and syrupy and kind of overpowers anything that it's in, but it looks cool. And that's why I use it in a lot of stuff.
Yeah. What do you think about the shot? The jig, that is.
The Jig. It was pretty good. I'm just not a big fan of grenadine. I would give it a 3 out of 5.
I'd give it a 2.5.
Because you also don't like sweet stuff.
I don't like sweet stuff, but it's not nasty.
No.
It's like not a horrible sweet. All right. Now try the Saw.
You guys can't see this, but Eric actually gave me a smaller glass.
On accident. I didn't realize both glasses were different sizes.
Oh, this is really good.
She thick.
It's a thick, yeah, it's a slushy drink. What is in the strawberry part of it?
The strawberry has peach schnapps, rum. There's a little bit of simple syrup, strawberries, and grenadine. And then this white part has heavy whipping cream, vodka, and vanilla extract.
I like it. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
I think so too.
I think it's because it's also like 80 degrees here. No, this is like hitting the spot. Yeah.
Cool.
Good job.
Check it out. Thank you.
You
So,
upstaged me.
no way.
Sorry, I just got a message from our friends. We showed him the drinks, and Mortimer's in the background of the photo.
Who is he? Oh, no. I didn't think
And Brenda's like, what happened to your skeleton?
Yeah, that project's coming soon. We'll let you guys know.
Oh, I'm taking a really long time, but I'm trying to midsummer him up. Hopefully it'll be
midsummer.
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 Somnar.
There's so many debates online. Why? It's literally just who cares. Yeah. People care.
People care.
So do you want me to give the quick snippet?
Yeah, since I'm
Fun facting. Here's what IMDb says.
Let's go.
2 strangers waken in a room with no recollection of how they got there and soon discover they're pawns in a deadly game perpetrated by a notorious serial killer.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. This movie is really long, so summing it up in a sentence is pretty hard.
I've got some opinions, but let me get into the fun facts first. Okay, so Saw is actually a movie I don't know a lot about because I wasn't interested in it. I got these fun facts from Uprocks. It's an article titled 10 Facts Every Horror Movie Fan of Saw Should Know or something like that. James Wan and Lionel, I believe his last name is pronounced, actually started this short film back in 2001 inspired by the Blair Witch Project.
Really?
You kind of get that vibe of like found footage-y type films. With that, the movie also had a pretty small budget, less than $1 million, which for a movie is, I guess, poor. I don't know.
In 2004, maybe it's a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, it said they had a budget of $700,000, and I'm just like, that's a house. A very expensive.
We're going to compare how much movies cost by number of houses you can buy.
Because of that, the film was mostly filmed inside one warehouse, and they don't have a lot of outside scenes because they were too expensive to shoot. The film originally did not have the plan of having Jig Saw in it, the puppet on the tricycle. Isn't that crazy to think that now he's like the figure of the films?
Do they say why he got added in after the fact?
They say like sources, and then they quote like the director's talking about the film, and he just like never is brought up. That would probably be a deeper dive that I'd have to go into.
Maybe they were just like, well, we need an icon for this thing, so let's...
Probably. They're probably thinking along the lines of, we need a Freddy, we need a Michael, we need a Jason.
What if the pig in the cloak was like their alternative, and they're like, the puppet's kind of creepier. Let's do the puppet. 'Cause they do both.
I actually don't think the puppet's creepy, but maybe it's because it's parodied so much now. Maybe if I saw it first then.
The pig, I think, is creepier.
So, the character Jig Saw was actually a result of migraine headaches. After film school, Lionel kept getting terrible migraines and headaches, and he was convinced he had a brain tumor. So he went to go get an MRI, and he was sitting there waiting for his results, thinking like, what if they tell me I have 2 years to live? What if they tell me I am going to die now? And obviously that's a heavy theme in this movie.
What have I done in life to only have this time left? I don't have much time, and these people who do are wasting it.
Exactly.
Kinda, yeah.
Probably my last one, because there's actually a million of fun facts about this film, because one, it like totally changed the horror genre. It was only filmed in 18 days, which is crazy short. But this is one that I think is interesting, is they originally had 3 ideas for this movie. And one was the concept of the 2 men waking up in the room. The other one was about astral projection, which we know James Wan later made with Insidious. And then he had another premise Yeah, right? Like, what was the original storyline for that? Insidious, probably.
Right. Oh, okay. I was thinking the movie was planned out this way, but it was going to have themes of astral projection as the way that they were tormented or something.
I think James Wan just wanted to make a film about astral projection, which he later does. And then another premise he had for it was, what if a man was waking up with scars and things while he was sleeping and he didn't know what was happening to him, and he recorded it, which later went on to be similar premise for Paranormal Activity. Kind of cool that all these film ideas he had did become films later. I don't think he's involved with Paranormal Activity
I was about
at
to
all,
ask.
though.
I don't think he is, right?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, just two dudes from movie school who
They did it well.
They
I mean,
did
honestly,
it.
this
Small budget,
movie
like-
is a good time. I remember being younger. 2004, I was like 12.
and you watched
And
it.
I watched it, and I was... Being a kid, you don't necessarily get a lot of things. I just thought, oh, he cut his leg off. Oh my god, what is happening? What's the pig got to do with this puppet? And just remembering all the torture scenes. As an adult, now that I've rewatched it with you, it's still pretty insane.
I wish I didn't know the ending, because I knew the twist at the end, and I knew the concept of this movie. I can imagine watching it the first time. At the end, you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But I knew it was coming, so that kind of sucks.
I think that's why watching it this time, too, a long time between, still had me guessing what was going to happen next, because I don't remember a lot of
I
things.
could see that. Who's doing the 1 minute summary?
You're going to do the minute this time,
Oh,
because I
man.
think I did Beasts of Bray Road last week.
I think so. We should keep track of this better.
Ready?
I guess
1 minute.
so.
1, 2, 3, go.
Okay, so we open on the scene with a dude in the bathtub. He gets out and he realizes he's in the room with another dude. It's turns out he's a doctor, and this guy is a private investigator, and there's like a dead body in the center of the room that they don't pay a lot of attention to, apparently. So, like, we're just kind of finding out about the characters through exposition and background stories. We find out that the doctor had like an affair, and he's like a terrible husband and like an okay-ish father. We don't learn a lot about Adam, the PI dude. It kind of doesn't matter. And we find out that the doctor was kind of mean to this dude that was like, oh, he has cancer. And there's an orderly named Zep that comes into play later. They're all being manipulated by this dude in this game of torture because at the same time there's an investigation going on. And they find like brutalized bodies. It's like a game. There was one survivor. Her name was Amanda. She explains what's going on. And in the end, they kind of have to like torture or kill each other to at least one of them survive and get out. The end. I didn't have time left.
You only won because you just like were like, fuck the rest of the details.
Because you showed me I had like 10 seconds left.
Yeah, and then you just like said,
Listen,
and then that's the end at
It's
55.
about getting it done.
It was 55. You had 5 seconds left.
What could I have said in 5 seconds?
I don't
Exactly.
know. Okay. Next time I'm just
You're
not
not
going to
show me. Oh, man.
Yeah, because
Okay.
then you're just like, well, and then it's the end.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, you win, technically.
Technically, you're not happy about it.
The rule for if we don't beat the minute is we have to take a shot. So
Listen, no, I'm not doing that. We already did a shooter.
Next
But
time.
I won.
Yeah, you did. Cool. Well, let's jump into it. There's a couple things I want to point out
Yeah.
right from the get-go. You
All
wanna-
right, give it to me.
All right, so fuck this cop. Seriously.
Yeah, when we find out that they're in this room and the doctor knows, I guess this is a detail that I did miss. The doctor knows about this criminal because he was a suspect in the investigation, and he's being relentlessly pursued by this one cop investigator who like truly believes he is the murderer to the point of being fucking terrible at his
he
job.
is.
He
The
literally
worst cop.
witnesses this dude's wife and child be kidnapped and just watches them. It does nothing.
Let me wait. You're waiting for the doctor? I'm
Me
waiting for the
too.
doctor too. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? Also, you bought an apartment across the street just to watch this man?
We do find out that
Or
this
whatever.
murderer is out there, and he becomes like really obsessed with the case, and you get the vibe that he is kind of obsessive about cases in general. Like he doesn't chill out, he doesn't go have a drink at the bar later with his partner. And
I never actually caught the name of the cop.
Tap.
Oh, is it Tap? Okay.
Sing and tap.
Tap Sing.
I wonder if that's on purpose.
I don't know. The names are weird. Even Zep,
Yeah.
Tap Sing. He's like, let me take some comic book words and just start throwing them in the names.
Nicknames.
Pow. We got Zap. We got
Tang.
Kapowie.
Isn't that from That's So Raven?
Yeah, it is. The dad. He's trying to come up with a sound for when he goes Gordon Ramsay on it. Salt Bay.
Yeah, he does.
But that scene where Sing invites him to go have a beer, and this guy just happens to see like the
Find a
tiniest
lead.
detail into one of the VHSs that they're watching.
And they go investigate immediately, and I don't know how cops work, but don't you need like clearance from somebody else? You can't just go off and do that on your own or with your partner.
The problem was when he said no to beers.
That's when he messed up.
Had he said yes to beers, he wouldn't be
Everyone
dead.
would be fine.
Honestly.
This scene is more in the middle of the movie because we're flashing back between the two strangers in the room and finding out the backstory of why they're there. We see that they follow this lead and they find the warehouse where Jig Saw is.
Via gang graffiti in this VHS and
Alarms going off.
A very, very faint fire alarm in the background. And they called headquarters to say, could you get all the fire alarms that went off in this area during this time? I don't know if it's a reach.
You get the sense that you have to be clever, but it's like...
This cop was not clever.
No, I hate him so much. Because then they do get there and there's a person currently there being tortured. Instead of shooting him like Singh wants to, he just like...
So much goes wrong.
He's like, no, I need to see his face. And honestly, that's like his entire downfall.
And Singh the whole time is like, let's get on. We got him right
Literally
now.
right in front of us. Shoot first, ask questions
Yeah.
later, basically.
This scene is cool overall. It's kind of like when the superheroes get to the villain and the villain's got this master plan and puts the heroes on a... It's either save the guy or catch me.
The dude is fumbling with the keys when Jigsaw tells him, like, the keys will let him go. And I'm like,
And there's
why
two
wouldn't
drills
you...
coming to his neck.
He literally has a shotgun when this is happening. I'm like, okay,
Shotgun?
maybe not
Okay,
a shotgun because
yes.
those spatter everywhere. But
Yeah.
then he pulls out his handgun way later. I was like, why wouldn't you do that first
Because I had
and
60
shoot the
seconds
drills?
and he waits till like the last
10
5 seconds.
And in that time where he's trying to figure it out, Tap's fighting with the actual murderer and gets his throat sliced, which is like pretty intense. I don't know too much about this universe, but like, what did he do before this? To just have that skill.
Clearly he was an assassin.
Clearly he even dresses like one in the
He does.
cloak.
I wonder if Assassin's Creed came out before this.
I don't know.
I was confused too with his survival because obviously it's revealed that he survived because he's
He just probably
stalking
didn't
the
cut
doctor.
deep enough, or he missed the vital artery in your neck.
Singh and the cop followed. I don't know that I would trust following and chasing after this person who is clearly into puzzles and clearly into traps through his lair.
Victims. It's like you don't really know you're criminal, because I thought you had to like really study them behaviorally.
You would know that chasing after him, he probably has traps set
Trapped
up.
the place, yeah, and which he does. He has this crazy shotgun trap that just blows up.
Which, elaborate, how'd you get that many shotguns? You know
It's-
how much guns cost?
No, but also this is America.
Mm.
It's very easy to get.
So you got him off the black market? I don't know. He has like 6 shotguns hanging from the ceiling.
Yep, and blows up Singh basically
Horribly.
because they all go up.
You got the body shaking and seizuring because he blew his head off.
I guess this is a good time to mention that I have not watched these movies because I legitimately thought they were all about the gore.
The later ones, I feel, are.
This one's not bad. I was expecting worse. I kept waiting for worse. Actually, reading some of the fun facts for today, I saw that all the gore that came later was not part of the creator's original vision. They cared about the story, but fans seemed to really like the gore of this movie, and so it became crazier and crazier as the movies went on.
We were reading the synopsis for all 7. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's 7. I didn't realize there were that many.
I do want to watch Spiral, though.
I've heard mixed reviews about that one. But yes, we're eventually going to watch all of them. But it's funny, you read through the synopsis for all 7, and it's like 1 through 4, I think, is the one that's like, Jigsaw continues, Jigsaw this, Jigsaw. And then once you get to, I think it's 4 is where he's dead. And from 4 to 7, it's like, the legacy of Jigsaw, the copycat killer of Jigsaw, Jigsaw's legacy still. And it's clear that Jigsaw is a big deal in this universe because he is super smart and his whole motive is he's sick, has cancer. I can kind of resonate with that. Not that I've had cancer, but I've known people who do, and I've thought about too like what they could feel like. And honestly, I don't think his his methods are shitty.
Or shit, yeah.
But I can imagine that someone would break with that in mind. Not just cancer, but terminal disease in general.
It's kind of funny because I have Crohn's and I like resonated a little bit with this movie. No, fuck that. I didn't go murder everybody. But I remember first getting diagnosed and you definitely feel that rage towards other people. Granted, Crohn's, like I should count my blessings, right? It's a manageable disease now with medicine and stuff like that. But I definitely at the beginning would like look at people on the streets and be like, why me?
Yeah.
Why me? Why poor little old me? When you're out here, I think he captures a drug addict at one time, and like
she survived.
and she's fine. You know, like I would think those things, like as messed up as they are, but when you get diagnosed with something, you're kind of just angry. It's the process of grieving about it. I don't think he got over it.
No.
He just went straight into the murder.
Yeah. And if he was a super intelligent dude, I guess that sucks. You don't really expect super smart people to use it for bad, but when they do, this is what you get, I guess. Like, this is the result of someone super smart turning evil.
I think all villains have to be smart.
Yeah. There's, like, stupid villains.
Yeah.
But no, I know what you mean. Not from firsthand, but my dad had cancer, and I remember feeling the same thing, just indirectly. You picture people who are doing really bad things, subjective, right? Because it's
exactly.
Good to
I was going to say bad things, quote unquote. You just see people doing unhealthy things.
And you picture, like, why is my dad wasn't, like, a huge drinker or anything like that, but he had kidney cancer, and it's like, there's people who literally, right now, we're drinking, but, like, there's people who literally have, quote-unquote, bad vices and are completely fine, and then there's people who are just normal, quote-unquote, healthy, who get this, but it's just the
For sure,
life, I guess.
That's what I felt, too, and it's like, at the end of the day, that just because you have vices or something doesn't mean you're a bad person and deserves to die. You know, this stuff's random. It picks whoever it wants,
It really
and there's no
does.
reason.
Yeah.
On that depressing note,
Let's talk about these kills.
let's talk about murder.
Well, what did you think about all the traps?
Wait. Before you say that, you made a point about how Jigsaw dies but doesn't really die, and like he comes back. But that's what happens to all the iconic slashers. Every movie, Michael's not dead, but he's dead, and he's back, but he's not dead. And that's what happens with him, Freddy, and they all get these remakes.
But I think what makes those more ridiculous is that it's actually them. In this case, it's just somebody doing his work like him for Jigsaw.
Which is more believable because there is such things as copycat killers. Yeah, we could talk about the traps. I thought they were about to be crazy in this movie, and they weren't that crazy.
You really? You think so? Think about the bear trap face.
Oh, I thought that was insane, but she gets out of it, and I'm sure I've seen in other movies where they don't get out of it.
I couldn't tell, but it looks like she only had 60 seconds to do everything she did in that scene. I don't think she would have actually
That's not
made
enough
it.
time.
No, because she has time to freak out in the chair. I don't think the timer starts until she gets up, and there's like a string connected to the bear trap. And so when she stands up, she still has time to freak out standing.
To heavy metal.
To heavy metal and spinning in the room. Then she has to go and like cries over the body of that guy in the room with her. Realizes he's alive. There's a giant question mark on his chest, Riddler style from Batman. And then she finds a knife on the floor. Like, there's just too many things. Have you ever tried to do something in a minute? Like, tell a whole movie?
Yes, I just tried to.
It's not enough time, but
No.
she does. She cuts through his. I'm just gonna keep reemphasizing. There's not enough time. She wouldn't have
There's
survived.
not enough time.
She cut through him and then still had to look
through his
it.
intestines.
Still has to
Do you know how
look for
long
the key.
intestines are?
And then she still doesn't know where to insert this key on her head.
There's not enough time.
And then she still has time to grab it and throw it.
Before it snaps.
It's too much.
But she claims that he helped her because she was a drug addict and made her happy to be alive.
Extra point to make. That guy was not dead. He was alive
Yeah,
while she's cutting
And Jigsaw tells her that he's dead. Because I guess thinking you're like, well, if they're already dead... Yeah, I would cut through their stomach to save my own head from snapping.
Yeah,
But then you realize he's not dead.
he had a bunch of opium in him, so he didn't even feel it, they say later.
So I think what this movie does is it's unsettling, like knowing these things, but not super gory. And later, I'm guessing they just are about gory, not unsettling. I don't know.
Yeah, but the other one I wanted to point out was the wiring trap,
The barbed wire one,
Yeah,
that one was pretty nasty.
where he had to get out of the barbed wire in time before the door closed.
And he
Did I
didn't.
listen correctly? The cop said that he didn't even give him the full 3 hours. It closed at 2.
No, I think he said he struggled for like 2 hours before bleeding out, which is a long time.
Yeah.
Silence.
Well, because I was just picturing getting out
Yeah, no way.
the whole time. We've talked about this before with Suspiria, where the girl jumps into that pile of barbed wire and she just keeps struggling.
Yeah.
And just keeps killing herself, obviously.
So not a new concept.
Not a new concept, but I mean, I guess what do you do? Imagine being Jigsaw. You do want to make these tests as impossible as you can, but also beatable. Or is his thing just, no, they're just not going to win.
Or maybe he picks people he thinks deserve to live more than others and makes their tasks more accomplishable.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I don't know.
She wins the bear trap one, but it's not something she could have done.
Fucked.
Yeah. But there was that one, with the door closing, and then we also get the guy what was his problem? Why did he do it?
He had to get a key out of a box, and the
But-
code was on the walls, but to see the wall, he had to pick up a candle, but he was covered in, like, highly flammable fluid.
But I mean, there was reasons for why he trapped them.
The first man with the barbed wire he was depressed and cutting himself, which
Oh,
is...
for attention. Is what Jig Saw says, is that for attention he did it.
Weird, because, like, that kind of behavior is more common in teenagers than adults. Not saying that it doesn't happen, but more common in teenagers.
Let's
There's
go
a
to therapy,
show...
y'all. You shouldn't do that.
I need to go to therapy. There's a show called Sharp Objects that plays on that. Good book. Same
Right.
author as Gone Girl.
But so that was his problem. And then the one with the numbers and the fluid on him, his problem was he was pretending to be sick.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. To get attention.
When they found him, he was just a corpse.
Yeah.
Oh, there was also glass on the floor.
There was.
So walking around while also trying to hold this candle that could also burn you, while also trying to understand. It's just so many numbers on the wall, and he has to find the combination for the safe in
that
the
is
center of
too
the
many
room.
to try, sir.
No, there's no way. And he had a timer too, right?
Yeah. I think he had like an hour or something. But
Fucked.
that's pretty much the background we get on this killer. Now let's talk about the two dudes in the room where the bulk of this story is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Lawrence is a doctor. Adam, like we find out, is a private investigator.
He was hired by the cop.
By Tab, yes.
You feel bad for Adam. I felt bad for Adam.
Okay, I don't care
Horrible
about
character.
Lawrence. He's not great.
Which is why he's here.
If you get the message that they're not supposed to be great people, why was Adam there? What did he do that was so bad? There has to be something, you know?
Yeah, Adam was probably the least deserving character
Of
of
this.
this situation. Because what is his thing that he spent time being a PI?
Right.
And that's his
The
flaw?
dude's gotta
He's
eat.
literally
He's
so
just Jessica
Jones
Joning it up.
Jessica
Damn.
Jones belongs in here too. Although Jessica Jones would
She
kill
would
Jigsaw.
immediately break her chains and just walk out.
just
but...
walk through the wall and kill Zep.
Who we find out is not even the main bad guy, which I already knew. Kind of spoils it.
You also wonder why Zep is also targeted. Was Zep's problem that he was a familiar? What do they call it? A regular? What do they call him?
Orderly?
Orderly.
Familiar? No, he wasn't an animal friend to a witch.
When it's revealed that Zep is also in the game, I thought it was interesting because Zep kind of admired John. So why?
I guess he got manipulated by him.
Okay, thanks for the support, bro. Here's a game.
I'm gonna murder you.
Yeah.
They're essentially in the worst escape room ever. And I asked you, I wonder if this is where, like, escape rooms came from.
Yeah, I don't know where the first one ever came. Have you been to one? You haven't,
No.
right? Yeah, I have through work. They were looking for a sixth person or something like that. And I went. It is fun, but you do feel even though it's like for fun.
You do feel
the
panicky?
pressure. Yeah, because there's a person in there with you who's from the escape room. They're like a worker. They can't give you any hints, but they will tell you if like you're completely off. At least the one we went to. There's tons of things in the room, keys, there's codes. I remember ours was like a murderer. We had to figure out why he got this demon thing. We had to find these like pieces that then at the end we had to bring together on this pedestal that would open the door. It was like we were in one room and then we had to enter this other room where the pedestal was, but we could see the other room through a window.
Okay.
Like if we were in a house and then had to get outside to the pedestal, and then we had to bring all those pieces together and put them in the correct positioning because they all had symbols on them. Super complicated. We ended up getting out like with literally a minute left.
Damn.
Yeah. So the pressure was on.
No one was cutting body parts off.
No. So imagine
When you do.
when you do. I don't know if that was coherent, but that's how I felt when I was there.
Panicky.
Yeah.
Speaking of panicky, the panic in this room. This doctor's an asshole. Because he keeps telling Adam to not lie to him, to trust him, and all these things, when Jigsaw wants him to kill Adam by 6 o'clock.
And he hasn't told Adam the whole time.
Kinda not, right?
Adam never really brings up, aside from a couple of times where he's like, no, fuck you, I don't trust you.
Mm-hmm.
Adam never really like shows as much panic as I would. Let's say me and this person are stuck in a room and then the recorder says, that guy needs to kill me. I would be like, no, fuck you, I'm figuring this out on my own.
And he keeps telling him, we need to work together. And Adam's really trusting because he throws him the saw, he throws him everything he needs. And I'd be like, no, bitch, you stay over there.
Yeah, which sucks. I guess that's the mind game. Either you both die together or you
But-
trust this recording that literally just said that other guy's way out is to kill you. There's a lot of opportunities to kill Adam too, like the cigarette.
And he doesn't do it, and they try to fake out the murderer, and then he electrocutes them because he's in the room with them and he can hear their plan.
Yes, which is so funny, right?
Mhm.
You're like, oh my god, he's been in this whole time. In the montage, John's eyes are opening and closing. It's to imply like he's been watching this whole time, but it's
Yeah.
like, why wouldn't Adam ever see it?
Or why wouldn't you notice the rise and fall of a chest breathing? But I guess if you're like in such a state of panic and you think that this is a dead body.
He likes his front row seats.
Yeah, he does.
You were talking about Adam and Lawrence. It's a couple of things that get thrown their way. It's just like an escape room. The clues lead to one thing and then they lead to another. First, they find the tapes. They somehow reach the recorder in the dead body's hand.
They're also throwing a lot of stuff back and forth. Like, what if one hit the dead body and he flinches? I'd be like, oh no. You have to be really good at playing dead.
Well, at the end, John, when he finally does get up, he's like, stretching Loki style with his little ugly face. We'll post the video, I think, one day to show how he stretches.
My favorite thing about him because he looks so ugly.
And he makes these noises.
He does. But, like, you didn't have to pee the whole time. Like, I would have had to pee within the first hour.
Well, he just didn't chug a ton of coffee like you, man.
Oh, I guess that's a smart choice.
At some point, they said, follow your heart. Is that what the note said in the pocket?
Yeah.
Okay, so then they say, follow your heart. There's like a poop heart on the toilet next to Adam.
A bloody heart.
And I don't understand why this is your first go-to. He starts to stick his hand into the toilet with like poop water because it's brown and nasty. I would have immediately looked under the lid, not stuck my hand into the poop water, which I guess if you're stuck in this nasty-ass room, your thought is like they're going to make it horrible, so it's probably in the poop. But the next thing is like, there's nothing here. All right, well, try the lid. And he's like,
Patrick, the lid!
And he puts his hand in the lid and he finds this garbage bag. He's like, why didn't I try that first? And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro.
Why didn't you?
They find the garbage bag and Adam quickly grabs the bag and dispatches it.
Yeah, he puts it in the tub. I noticed that too. For later.
The two saws are in there. They hand them to each other. And both of them, again, knowing how a saw works myself, I wouldn't try. You kept bringing up all this logic about the lighter.
Listen, Eric was roasting me, but I'm like, we have fire.
You were.
I was a true caveman about this movie. Okay, because hear me out.
Don't bring a fire. Sure.
Yes.
We can get out of here.
Hear me out. Okay, he cuts off his leg towards the end to escape the chain, which is what Jig Saw wants, right? And he's trying to crawl out of this room and being like, I need to get help because if we don't, I'm going to bleed out and die. And I was like, you have a lighter.
And you're a doctor.
And you're a fucking doctor, allegedly. Couldn't you set your clothes on fire enough to like cauterize the wound? At least you wouldn't bleed out and die. Set the clothes on fire over the chains, wait the 6 hours and nothing will happen. Apparently. But I said,
Step
we can...
back. That's not your immediate solution. Your immediate solution was just hold the lighter to your wound.
My immediate solution was like set the whole place on fire and don't let the killer win. That would be my logic. You're gonna die anyway.
If you knew that the guy in the center of the room, sure, was the killer.
Right, because like, what if I set the room on fire? Then the dude's like, no.
Hold on. I didn't expect this one.
I didn't expect you to be that crazy, bitch.
He's like, you know what?
You do want to die. You know what? I'm gonna make you live.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Problem solved, yeah. So these guys are trying to cut their chains with these very
weak
skinny saws.
But it's strong enough to cut through your legs still? There's bone in that bitch.
I don't know. Maybe because he's a doctor, he knows how to do it, right? I don't fucking know. We never see the cut leg. I was pissed that we didn't see this, okay?
You don't? I thought you would at least see that because this film is so gory, I thought.
You'd think you'd see a stump. You didn't really see any of the dismemberment. Even though Singh's head gets blown off by shotguns, you just see the chest, you don't see his head. It's all implied horror.
In this first one, yes.
Even when she's cutting up the dude's stomach for the key, you don't really see it.
Fun fact, those were pig guts.
Ooh. Oh, wait, so we did see it.
She like is playing with the intestines to get the key out.
Pig guts, huh?
Yeah.
Yum.
Tripas.
Yeah, if y'all don't know what that is, figure it out.
I think they know.
My uncle loves...
Context, please.
My uncle loves tacos de tripa.
I don't really like it.
You remember that time that your family had tripas at the party and I ate all of them?
You went in on them and they're like, wow, he really likes it.
And I didn't. I was on a high-fat, low-carb diet.
Yes.
It was the only thing I could eat. But they end up breaking one of the saws. They're just arguing. You get more backstory about the doctor and his family and how he's a liar. He's a piece of shit. He's like, I would never lie to you, daughter. And then immediately lies to her.
Doesn't check her closet well enough to find that there's an actual man inside.
This daughter is creepy. If your kid goes up to your room because he or she is afraid and they're just standing there staring at you until you wake up, what the fuck are you doing here? Go back to bed.
You
Stop staring at
accidentally
me.
drop kick them because you think they're a demon.
Or possessed.
Yeah.
Or not my child. I saw a lot on Twitter about doppelgangers. Have you heard this?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I commented on it about how there's like a whole side of TikTok with skinwalkers, and I think it's creepy as fuck. I know a lot of it's probably just like not real, but
it's fun.
But it's still creepy. Yeah, you don't know if that kid's yours because the daughter.
You don't know if that kid's yours.
First, well, if it's a doppelganger, she's very emotionless in this whole scene. So she gets up out of bed and then just walks up to her mom, just staring, says nothing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like. Because I remember being a kid, and if I would cry, my mom would come to my room and be like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Or if you were my sister, you would wake up in the middle of the night every fucking night and be like, Mom, I threw up. So you don't just quietly go in there and be like, I'm scared. Creepy.
Children are creepy.
That's a whole genre in horror, creepy kids.
Creepy babies, too.
See that?
We get random backstory stuff about the doctor while Adam and Lawrence are kind of talking about why they ended up here. It's also how we get the exposition about Saw and how there's an investigation on Lawrence because of the crazy cop. The reason they think the doctor did it is because
a pen of his was found at a crime scene.
Which is obviously all of Jig Saw's plan. It's all interconnected. It's almost like it was a bunch of people who had a series of unfortunate events that then led them to be with each other.
Which is like my question. How do you know people are going to play along and do what you want?
Isn't that his point? Is that he knows how simple people are? How simple-minded they are?
I don't know, because, like, he gives the doctor one gun with one bullet, right? Who's to say that the doctor wasn't suicidal and he's like, fuck this is too much anyway, and blows his own brains out?
Or fires on the body that's in the ground.
Or shoots his chains and a ricocheting bullet is going around the room, and the dead body, once again, has to be like, oh shit.
Let's also talk about this lighter.
Like, drop it.
Then I told you that I was like, if you really have this much faith in the lighter, he should have just lit the back of the bullet so it would just fire off.
Yes, okay.
But anyways, we got a lot of backstory about how Adam ended up being hired as a PI by the cop. The pen was found at a crime scene for these Jig Saw murders. The family, on the same night that the doctor is going to go cheat on his wife, is held hostage. The doctor shows up at
the hotel.
Sleeping with.
Yeah.
He doesn't end up doing anything with her, but he gets a phone call to the room where they're going to meet. Basically says, I know what you're doing. He's like, I got to get out of here. He leaves to the garage. That's where Adam is taking a picture. Bad job as a PI. Why the fuck are you using flash if you're trying to be discreet? Also, that camera is loud as hell. Later when we see how Adam got kidnapped.
Maybe that's why Adam ended up there, because he took a picture and Jig Saw was like, oh shit, I was there.
And maybe he caught me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it. But yeah, you could hear the charge in the back. The doctor turns around. He's like, who the fuck's there? And nothing happens. So he's going to his car. It's also how we see how the doctor got kidnapped. We see how Adam got kidnapped in his house or apartment by this pig cloaked figure, which I think is creepier than the puppet.
Yeah, actually. Again, because that puppet has been parodied so much. There's a video that our friend showed us. It's like, Jig Saw is the worst roommate ever. And he's just like... making you do all these tasks like to get to work, and he's like the worst co-worker ever. It's funny.
We should post it in the notes.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
So I kind of couldn't take the movie seriously after having seen those videos.
I can imagine before though this was creepy. I remember thinking that the puppet was like
for sure hideous, it's weird. Yeah. Never liked dolls, and there's a scene where Jig Saw the doll is laughing, and I said, no thank you.
Yeah, and Adam goes at him with a bat.
Yeah, like not a fan of that. So it shows how they get kidnapped, and it shows how his family is being tied up. Something that really bothered me about the family being tied up and the mom like freeing herself and pretending to be tied up and all that, that's fine because she then attacks him for the gun, but doesn't shoot him immediately.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
She hesitates. Like, your kid's there, man. Like, you, and clearly you have horrible intentions. You've tied us up. Like, I will shoot you.
You brought up this good point that the reason that this happens with the mom is because they want to advance the cop story, and he gets killed anyway.
He gets no redemption. He ends up being like the same dumbass and makes the same mistake of not wanting to shoot this guy because he's just so hell-bent on wanting to bring him to justice that he ends up dying.
You know what this cop reminds me of? The doctor from Halloween. Fuck that guy. And this guy.
Same type of character.
Yeah. For real. They really are. The two people who know the most handle the situation in the worst way possible. Dr. Loomis, even less, because he's a doctor, not even a cop. This guy is literally a cop who's been investigating this
Well, not
person.
anymore. He was discharged for being a terrible cop.
At this point, yeah. But you would assume he's like, hey, I caught him. I have enough evidence to go get this guy. Let's surround the building. Yes. We got him.
Instead of going in blindly. I think it shows that he's like too like narrow-minded on catching this guy. And it ends up being the reason he dies.
Worst.
Through this scene is when Zepp makes his way to the room with Adam and Dr. Lawrence. Dr. Lawrence is hearing all of this on a phone, like the struggle that's happening. This is where he snaps and shoots Adam, but he shoots him in the shoulder to not fatally wound him, but he'll like still bleed out if he's left there. He goes into berserker mode and chops off his foot.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
You know, in a situation where you're stuck and you can't do shit and you don't know what's going on the other side. Obviously, the family ended up finding some neighbors and called the cop.
The only logical people in this movie.
Yes. But the doctor has no idea that that's actually happening. So he's thinking the worst.
I don't know if I would cut my foot off. I don't know. Have you seen Misery?
No, what is that?
It's a Stephen King. You really haven't seen Kathy Bates in Misery?
Oh.
Okay, I haven't seen it in a long time. I don't remember a lot, but there's basically the premise that this author wants to stop being an author, and he ends up in the whole other movie, guys. Maybe we'll cover it. He ends up in the woods, and Kathy Bates' character finds him because he has an accident in the woods. It turns out she's like an obsessive fan of his, and she gets really mad when she finds out that he's killing off one of her favorite characters and like tortures him in her house. She used to be a nurse. Yeah, it's a whole nightmare scene. And there's a scene where he like tries to escape, and she gets mad at him, and she like breaks his feet.
Damn.
Yeah.
At the knee?
No, at the like ankle. Like she puts a wooden block between his legs and takes a sledgehammer against the thing.
Damn.
But if you could find a way to break your foot and dislocate it, maybe you could escape these changes.
Is that any better than cutting your leg off, though? We talked about how you said that you could shatter your bones and
you
then
could
end up getting infected and you'd end up having to cut
it off anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of options here, man.
You said that you wouldn't want to play the game at all.
I wouldn't. I'd be like, fuck you. I'd sit there and be like, nope. Don't care. Kill me now. I would not be a fun person to do this to.
He'd be like, well, this is boring. I'm going to just get up.
Also, it's funny because he has like a type of colon cancer. And like with Crohn's, that's like your most likelihood of dying.
You'd probably just tell him that, yo, I'm like you, bro.
Bro, I'm going to end up like you in a couple years anyway. Let's just wait till then, huh?
That would just be bad on Jig Saw for not doing his research.
No, truly. I like how we're just making this up. Like Jig Saw has this compassion towards people. Clearly not.
Clearly not.
So the doctor cuts off his foot, and they have like this weird touching scene where he's like, I won't let anything happen to you.
Don't forget about me.
And then he like crawls out.
And he turns around and is like, I wouldn't lie to you. Lies to him.
Yeah, they've been lying to each other this entire time. And that's pretty much where we get this crazy scene, because I don't know if I mentioned this, but Zepp runs in and is fighting with Adam, and he's gonna kill the doctor because he didn't kill him in time. He messed up the rules.
We find out that Zepp was also in the game.
Adam had killed him. He had struggled with him. That's when, the doctor sees that, and then he leaves.
Adam kills Zepp with the toilet lid.
He like bashes his head in. So I was trying to remember how he
could have
did
just
it.
killed him with the toilet water, since that was Adam's immediate thought for some reason.
The way I was with the lighter, he was with the toilet water. Light the toilet water on fire.
Because it is poop. Probably got some methane in there, depending on how long it's been sitting there. Just light the whole room on fire.
This is when we get the big reveal, right? Adam finds the tape in Zepp's pocket and plays it, and he's like, you're part of the game. And then all these crazy flashes happen. That's where you see that the dude that's been lying on the floor is alive, blinking and looking at them literally. And then he just like stands up, rips up his very impressive special effects bald cap. Props to this guy.
Hey, on that note, before we conclude, don't you think it's cool that he has this lab where obviously he tests these things out?
He has little, like, Hereditary style where she builds little miniatures. He does too.
Yeah, it's like a super smart villain. It makes me think, what did he do before?
That's what I said earlier. Does his backstory get explored in the other ones? I don't know.
I can't recall. I mean, I'm sure, because I think at one point his daughter comes into play. I mean, I could be wrong.
We just gotta watch it and find out, I guess.
Yeah, we have 7 movies to get through. 8 with Spiral.
I was actually thinking we could do, like, a condensed one where we watch a couple of them at the time, because we also had someone suggest, shout out to probably our only listener, Nicole. She suggested we do all the Carrie movies, and I think that's a good idea. Maybe we, like, condense them and cover them all in one episode. That will be a behemoth. It would be like watching so many movies in one day.
I'd never seen any of the other ones. We should also watch the remake with, was it Chloe Moretz?
You didn't see the remake?
No, I didn't.
The end of this movie.
I think.
I wish I didn't know the ending, because that probably would have been like, what? So mind blown.
I remember the scene happening, and I was like, what is happening? Who is this man? I'd never, ever paid attention to the fact that John was his own character. In the beginning, you see John's body on the bed. He's the one that the doctor is teaching his students about.
He's literally talking about him in front of all these people like he's not even there. Like, this patient gonna die. And I knew it was him immediately because I knew the premise of the story. And I was like, oh, that's the killer. Him
and Zeb kind of look similar in terms of appearance.
Like facial structure a little bit.
They have a similar, like, long
I'm
nose.
sure that's on purpose to make it seem like Zeb's the mastermind behind everything when he's not. And it's just, he gets up and he's like, that's the game over, man.
Dramatic door slide. He's like,
heavy ass door.
This is when I felt bad for Adam, though.
Yeah, because I think he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And we find out that the key that was around his neck that went down
nonchalantly
the drain
gets mentioned.
Yeah, he's like,
the key was on the chain of the drain. And then walks away.
And the last thing we see is Adam like screaming in the darkness because it went down the drain.
With the dramatic music. What do you think? First time you've seen it?
It's pretty good. It's not gory. I was afraid of it because I thought it was going to be gory. But it's fun. It's like a murder mystery, and I love me some true crime shit.
Yeah. The part that was supposed to be probably the most gory isn't even shown. You kind of see when he starts to rip his leg off with the saw.
Yeah.
But you don't see him actually do it.
But we'll see. I don't know if I'll fare this well with the other movies.
I don't think he will. There's some pretty gory stuff. If you couldn't even handle El Gigante where the dude's stomach gets ripped open.
I just don't like it, okay?
I think it's pretty good too. Watching it as an adult probably makes more sense than when I was a kid because you can see where the pieces fall together. There's hateable characters. There's crazy traps.
Yeah, not many of them are likable.
Singh is a cool character. I feel bad because he also kind of just falls into the craziness of Tap. The cop probably didn't deserve what he got. Adam, I don't think deserved what he got. The doctor, I can't remember if in the second one he plays a role, but honestly, I think the doctor shouldn't have been the one who escaped.
He was just driven so crazy. It was all about him. He had his family to like stress him out. And at the end of the day, the doctor was the one talking about him over his body like he was going to die.
And so John said, over my dead body.
Also, like...
Get it?
Fun. He was his patient. And he saw the dead body on the ground. Like,
his doctor was too worried about another girl.
To worry about anybody else, yeah. I don't care if he survives. I don't think his wife and kid deserve to die because he's an asshole.
His wife definitely deserved to be the one who got revenge on Zepp.
Yeah, she should have just shot him.
When the cop is chasing Zepp, you're like, I don't give a fuck about anything that's happening right now.
I thought the cop was terrible. Zepp, I was like, I could care less because I knew he wasn't the main bad guy. You're not attached to these characters, and I think that's why this movie gets away with treating them the way that they do. Because if you're like rooting for the character that might die or might not escape the torture, it doesn't make you want to watch the film as much, I think.
That's Saw by James Wan. Check it out if you haven't.
I'm sure everyone
from
has.
2004. Well, you haven't. There's probably other people
for
like
a
you.
reason. What was the reason?
I don't know. Something about a lid and a lighter.
Yes, because you made fun of my lighter plans.
Watch this movie with that in mind and see if Vivi's right. That the lighter would be the key ingredient to getting out.
I'm telling you, it's how you would survive.
You literally said put the lighter to the chain and maybe it'll weaken the metal.
Yeah, then you could cut through it. Yeah, I know that wouldn't work. I was just I was spitballing ideas,
You
okay?
really were. We should go to an escape room.
No,
we should.
I'm gonna take a lighter and then it's gonna be the end of that escape room.
And the person who's in there's like, where the fuck did you get a lighter? Just lighting the whole place on fire. Kicks the door down. I told you I could get out of here.
Ma'am, this is a game. You didn't have to take it
You
that
come out
seriously.
with a tie on your forehead and your shirts are all ripped.
I come out Targaryen style. Dragons
Naked?
show up. Yes!
Naked. There's not even a fire. You're just imagining all of it.
I just lost it in an escape room.
Sir, you haven't even been here a minute. Why did you bring your wife if you know she gets like this? We don't even know what the rules are yet.
Sir, this isn't even an escape room. It's a restaurant. I'm crying. Probably nobody else found this funny, but I'm dying.
This is what happens when you tell her there's no sushi on the menu. Oh, man. Well.
Probably funny to only us, but...
It's okay. Tell us if you thought it was funny. If you didn't, whatever.
Why are you listening?
Yes.
What would you rate this film?
I would rate it a 9.
I would also give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. It's a great movie. Good job, James Wan.
Once again, I do really like his movies.
Low budget, too. I've always thought that budgets didn't really define the movie.
They don't. It's always funny that you hear about this low budget movie that blew the box office out of the water. It's just because you have so much room for profit because you didn't spend the money.
Right, and then you've got these giant blockbusters who end up losing so much money. And you watch them, and it's not even that great. It's like what we've talked about before, where it's like the entire budget was wasted on this one detail that wasn't even that great. You could have used it on something that mattered.
Do you want to talk about what scared Loki this week?
I don't know that anything from the movie scared him.
Something did.
He was passed out.
Yeah, he knocked out. He does just kind of sleep once we're hanging out in the living room. I feel like he thinks like, oh, this is nap time.
I picked him up like
a baby and put him on his bed.
Yeah, because he was sleeping in the middle of the living room. I just picked him up like a child. A non-creepy child.
A non-creepy child. Actually, he's the creepiest child because he fades into the black.
Oh,
and you just see his little eyes and teeth. But there was like a scene, I think it's when they were struggling for the gun and the wife was making like grunting and like sniffling sounds. He did not like her sniffling.
What'd you think, Loki?
Sorry once again that we interrupted your nap.
We're going to show everybody how you stretch. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, cool.
So, as always, we hope you guys had a good time here. You can follow us pretty much anywhere at Shaken Not Scared Pod. Twitter is Shaken Scared Pod, and you can send us an email at shakennotScared@gmail.com.
You can support the show on Patreon. We'll name our next drink after you with mentions on our website, where the drink page will live forever. You can listen to us on all your favorite podcasting sites, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, a bunch of others. Give us a listen, give us a follow.
Be sure to rate and review us. For the love of God, review us.
We got one more, but no review.
No review.
Damn it.
So close.
Please do it. Nicole, please review.
She doesn't have an Apple account.
That's her.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Bye.
What do you think?
I was trying to see if...
Why are you yelling?
Him?
You. I'm trying to see it.